Thunder had two players, Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace, in double figures off the bench. All five starters for OKC were in double digits. And beyond Anthony Davis, who had he had a terrific game, 31 points, 11 of 18 from the field, 9 of 10 from the line, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 0 turnovers himself. And I thought LeBron put a little bit more of a stamp on the game as it went along. He finished with 21 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He also had 5 turnovers, and in particular in the first half had some lulu of passes. D'Angelo Russell finished with 16 points, but it was very, very front-loaded. He was pretty quiet in the second half. He had 10 assists in all, but not much of a presence in the second half when they needed him. Austin Reeves came on more in the second half, finished with 14 points, but they really needed 2 strong halves from both of those guys and more Lakers in general, and they just didn't get them. 877-710 ESPN if you want to weigh in. Definitely taking your calls. Also, you can hit me up on Twitter at Cam Brothers. Reminder, don't miss a minute of all the action this season. All Laker games now streaming on the ESPN LA app. You can download the ESPN LA app in the App Store or Google Play. It is time for the player of the game, driven by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Make it easy, and no surprise to anybody, that player would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
There's SGA into the front court. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander moving left. Now back to his right. Shake and bake, got to the rim, puts it up and in.
Good defense by Reeves.
29 for SGA.
He keeps his poise in traffic and is able to get to his spot to shoot.
Again, man, he's a problem. You love watching him unless he's playing your team because he is likely torching your team. Take a quick call, 877-710-ESPN. Let's talk to Kerry in the LBC. What's up, Kerry?
Hello, how you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, I just want to. I love LeBron James. I love him for what he has done for the game, but I feel like he took all of our young talent away, and now we are going up against these young Oklahoma, Minnesotas, and it's like, man, if we would have kept some of those guys, Ingram, Kuzma, and we built around him, he would have had some young talent, and we probably would have we've won a couple championships. I'm just saying.
It's interesting, Kerry. I appreciate the call. I am somebody, I've talked about this many times, whether on air here or as the co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, which I'm sure you all know, available 5 days a week wherever you get your podcast, never behind a paywall. There's also a YouTube component where you can watch the show as well. But I've always talked about how I would love to see the Earth 2 version of the Lakers where they had run with that core, some combination of Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, Nance. Unfortunately, we've seen what happened with Lonzo Ball, but he was exciting at the time. You can include D'Lo.
Talking multiverse stuff right here. Dude.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're talking like Marvel, Everything Everywhere, All at Once version of the Lakers. Like, we're talking all sorts of multiverses. But as much as those teams didn't win, I found them entertaining and exciting in their own right, just in terms of possibility. And they were a really likable group of players. And to Kerry's point about them all being traded away, look, on one hand, many of them got traded away to give you Anthony Davis, and that immediately led to a championship. So you can't fault those results. If the Lakers only end up with one championship in the LeBron AD era, I think it will be underwhelming to a lot of Laker fans, and I understand why. Obviously, AD is under contract longer term than one expects LeBron will be with this team. So the AD era doesn't necessarily mean the LeBron era, but it doesn't change the fact that that will feel underwhelming if that's all you have to show for it, especially when you watch players like Brandon Ingram or players like Julius Randle, who's been All-NBA a couple times. When you see the way Kyle Kuzma did play on that championship team, knowing that he got traded away for Russell Westbrook in a move that did not work at all, or you see solid supporting pieces like Josh Hart or Larry Nance Jr. do well around the league. Ivica Zubats across the hall. You know, there are a lot of different players that the Lakers have had that you look at now and say they would be nice to have around. Maybe the Lakers could have been a little more patient, giving it like one more year with B.I. and, you know, with the other guy, Kuzma, you know, some of the other guys that have been around with this team. But, you know, at the end of the day, they did win a championship, and that obviously counts for something. Darvin Ham spoke after the game, and this is what he had to say.
Darvin, even acknowledging a lot of the guys that you got out and how that can make things difficult, were you satisfied with the energy or effort level?
I mean, no one comes in, you know, wanting to be flat or a step slow or whatnot. You know, our guys came in to compete. They had it going a little bit early. Couple miscues, wasn't really good on the ball defensively. Our off-ball defense, you know, needed to be better. But at the end of the day, it's tough. You know, we're juggling different circumstances, guys being in and out of the lineup. But at the end of the day, you know, no one's going to feel sorry for you, especially when you're a Los Angeles Laker. So our biggest thing now, you know, being 0-3 on this road trip, is to go into Phoenix on Friday and just be the hardest working, most competitive, most together team on the floor for 48 minutes.
What have you been seeing from the offense, just to, I don't want to say in general, but a lot of first quarters especially, just the inefficiency, and it seems like guys struggling to get in and out of it?
I mean, it feels like we're second guessing sometimes, like shots are there on catch, and, you know, maybe we hold it, and now that shot is taken away just by not having to being able to make a quick decision. I think we need to play downhill more, obviously screening more. We watched the edit this morning on our pace, playing a little faster, setting good screens, playing with the pass, and, you know, being disciplined with our spacing. But, you know, 8 games in, and obviously, again, juggling different lineups, different people, you know. Seems like we have one person that's coming off an injury and then someone else going in on the inactive list. So we just got to juggle all that. Like, I'm not discouraged or anything because we haven't been whole all year. And so the biggest thing for me at this point is, you know, to keep coaching my team up in terms of that mentality, having a workman's mentality, and, you know, just controlling what we control, and that's whoever is in uniform that night, try to be on the same page, but definitely try to go out and outwork our opponent. And that's the tone we're trying to set, you know, at this point and going forward to finish out this trip.
And that was Darvin Ham after tonight's 133-110 loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder in OKC. The Lakers finish up this road trip 2-2, which is actually pretty solid. It was a difficult road trip, and considering the circumstances, 5,000-foot view, the Lakers did fine on this trip, but the losses were really bad, and they are going to understandably have some fans somewhere between nervous or flat out upset. If you are holding right now, stay with us. I will get to you. More coming up on the Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Big news, Laker fans. John Ireland here. You can now stream every Lakers game on the ESPN LA app. Don't miss a second of the action with Michael Thompson and I on the call. Plus, all your live and local Lakers talk every day in the palm of your hand.
You're one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
Download the ESPN LA app and bam!
Download the ESPN LA app at the App Store and Google Play.
And the Lakers lose 133-110 to the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road in OKC. Andy Kamenetsky in for Beto Duran on the Lakers postgame show, 710 ESPN. Big night for Anthony Davis, 31 points, 14 rebounds. He was 11 of 18 from the field, 9 of 10 at the line. Also had 2 steals, 2 assists, and it felt like AD was setting the foundation for an upset, maybe improbable win by the Lakers on the road, second end of this back-to-back. Last night's win in Detroit. He got Chet Holmgren, personally got Chet Holmgren into early foul trouble, drew 2 fouls on Holmgren in the first probably 6 minutes at the most in the first quarter, sent Chet to the bench for a while. The Lakers finished the first quarter up 7 and had a double-digit lead at one point, and it felt like maybe something was brewing for the Lakers, really exciting. But then ultimately, between the talent discrepancy that currently is there right now, period, just because the Thunder have been the better team, but then the Lakers missing 4 key rotation players and a 5th in Jackson Hayes, who, if nothing else, plays regular spot minutes for this team. The Lakers working with a 7-man rotation, combined with Jalen Williams offering 21 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Chet Holmgren, good second half, finished with 18 points on 8 of 15 from the field, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace had 10 points each off the bench. Some big threes down the stretch from Lou Dort. But then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man, 33 points, 11 of 18 from the field, 10 of 10 at the line, just relentlessly driving and attacking against this team. 7 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal, and this is really impressive. No turnovers. No turnovers for SGA, despite how much the ball is in his hands. That kid is a problem for the entire league, and he was a problem for the Lakers tonight, trying to contain him. They did their best. They threw a bunch of different looks at him. Max Christie, Taurean Prince, Austin Reeves. Saw LeBron occasionally checking him. I remember SGA hitting a jumper over Anthony Davis. It just didn't matter. They just had no answers for SGA. Reminder, not to miss a minute of action this season. All Laker games are now streaming on the ESPN LA app. Download the ESPN LA app in the App Store or Google Play. Points in the Paint, all season long, sponsored by Vista Paint, locally owned and manufactured for over 65 years. Vista Paint is your home for factory direct, high-quality paint products. Vista Paint, your championship team of paint professionals for over 65 years. Going to take a couple calls, 877-710-ESPN. Let's take Jalen in L.A. What's up? You're on the Lakers postgame show.
Yeah, if we're going to continue to build our games around how LeBron is feeling, how he's going to play for X amount of minutes, you're not going to have a winning season, much less a winning team. And I don't know who these clowns are that you put out there for the last quarter that can't hit the side of the backboard, much less shoot the ball within the time limit. It's a joke, an absolute joke. It makes the Laker uniforms stink as well. It's sad. This is pathetic. But, if we're going to build our games, every single game around him, he throws the ball away about as often as he misses free throws, which is quite a bit. Okay, there's no mentality here of wanting to win. There just isn't. They're not strong enough. They don't stay healthy. They don't take care of themselves. And they don't have the mama mentality. They don't have that mentality whatsoever. And it's really beginning to show. It's really pathetic to watch. And LeBron has done whatever he's done for the NBA. That's great, but he's dragging this team down. And you won 1 championship. Okay, we'll give you that, but it's all about him. And I don't think I've ever seen a more selfish player.
Wow.
In the league than this person. No, I'm sorry. It's just
Jalen. First of all,
I've always seen that.
I've
always seen that.
You are allowed your opinion. You are entitled to express what you see. Also, I just realized
he needs to get a record. he's going to get that record, and then he's done playing. What happened against the Nuggets? Okay, he got his record after the first half, and then he was done. Didn't score 1 point in the third quarter. Not one. Okay? You can't play like that.
Well, okay.
You can't win like that.
I appreciate the call, Jalen. And, again, you are allowed to express any opinions.
She was on fire.
Yes, she was. She was on fire. And, look, she's mad, and I get it. And, LeBron finished with 21 points in this game, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal and a block. Also, I just realized, by the way, not 100% sure that I said the Lakers' point in the paint total, but they had 38. And I'm going to guess an overwhelming majority of them were Anthony Davis. 38 is on the low side for the Lakers. They had a difficult time establishing much presence in the paint beyond AD. A lot of guys missing some chippies, a lot of guys missing some layups, some unsuccessful drives, but wanted to make sure people knew 38 points in the paint. As far as LeBron dragging down the team, I would not go that far. I mean, particularly when you take into account the discrepancy in plus minus and how much the offense often craters without LeBron. I think saying he's dragging the team down is too strong and frankly not accurate. That being said, though, it is tricky to have a team built around a guy with his type of mileage that I think understandably at times has to pace himself during games. But the problem is, even if it's understandable, there is a residual effect for that. And I don't think that LeBron is the only reason that the Lakers have often gotten off to slow first quarters. Certainly tonight, the first quarter was the best quarter unusually for the Lakers. But I have wondered before if LeBron's need to pace himself, whether over the course of games or maybe even the course of halves, does sometimes play a role in these slow starts for the Lakers. It is something that I've thought about before. One more call before we go to the break. The mainstay, the OG, Solomon in Lake Balboa. You're on the Lakers postgame show. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm good, Andy. Thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate that.
Man, you've put in as much work for this station as pretty much anybody who works here, Solomon.
Oh, well, cool, because I'm expecting a bonus then this year.
I wouldn't keep your eyes on the mailbox too much. But anyway, what's up?
Don't push it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Your direct deposit's going to stay the same, Solomon. Spoiler alert.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. Yeah, I'm not that upset about tonight because I kind of saw it coming. Your Lakers are down four good players. You got a rested team. You got a very talented team, best three-point shooting team in the league. I looked at it like two caterpillars. One had 12 legs, and the other had, 26. Who's going to win that race? And the Lakers had them in the first quarter, and then from there on, it was just a battle of attrition, and they couldn't keep up. So I didn't see this as a win coming tonight. And you pointed it out. Darvin Ham did the best he could, and the players that he used did the best they could. But sometimes you just can't make up for players that are not there.
I appreciate the call, Solomon, and I understand where you're coming from, and I don't even think you're wrong. I mean, this was going to be a difficult game for the Lakers under any circumstances because the Thunder are really good, and as somebody who's attended games in OKC, worked those, I can tell you that is one of the hardest buildings to win in. Like, that place gets loud. Their fans are really enthusiastic. So it's tough circumstances no matter what. What I do think, though, is discouraging for a lot of Laker fans, and maybe we'll talk about this next after the break. It's a 44-point loss to the Sixers, the fifth worst in franchise history, worst of LeBron's career. Then losing by 23 tonight, even taking into account the circumstances, that combined with the fact that the Lakers have a well below 500 record against teams above 500, which, to be fair, is not exclusive to them around the league among teams that want to try to win a championship this year. The Thunder, for example, are, I believe, below 500 against teams above 500, though tonight's win certainly helped them. But when you combine all of those things with the Lakers, they're 11-9. They have not gotten themselves in any trouble during this period where they have not been super impressive, but it doesn't change the fact that they have not been super impressive. So even if you haven't lost confidence in this team in terms of what they can do this season. You also have not seen nearly as much evidence of the ceiling, or just like regular reminders of what the highest side version of this team is. So I think that's what has a lot of fans concerned about this team. It's not even so much that they're terrible, because they're clearly not, but you wonder just how good are they and how good can they be, and are they ever going to be in the position to actually discover that best version of themselves? Talk about that more after the break. This is the Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Steve. Big news, Laker fans. John Ireland here. You can now stream every Lakers game on the ESPN LA app. Don't miss a second of the action with Michael Thompson and I on the call. Plus, all your live and local Lakers talk every day in the palm of your hand.
You're one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
Download the ESPN LA app and bam!
Download the ESPN LA app at the App Store and Google Play.
Demoy Hodge brings it into Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think the Lakers are simply going to dribble out the clock. 5 seconds remaining, and that will do it. The Thunder are going to win it. 133 to 110.
And that is how it went down in Oklahoma City. The Lakers losing by 23 on the road to close out this road trip. 2-2 road trip, and it was actually a pretty challenging road trip. So, all things being equal, we've said this a lot this year, the Lakers have not been doing much to hurt themselves. They're still 2 games above 500. They still have not dug themselves into a deficit despite all of the guys that they've been missing, their inability to create continuity this year. But they also have not done a lot to help themselves either. And that's really where you start getting concerned about this team. And just when are we going to see what would be the best version of themselves? Are we going to actually be able to see it? Are they going to be in a position to actually offer that? Because this team was built with, the intention of depth and trying to create the type of roster where you don't need to have LeBron and Anthony Davis carry everything over the course of 82 games. You're trying to ease that load on those 2 guys. And look, tonight, Anthony Davis, 31 points, 11 of 18 from the field, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He was the best Laker on the floor. And Second best was probably LeBron. 21 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from behind the arc, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He did have 5 turnovers, and I thought the first half he was a little bit shaky. He played much better in the second half of this game, but then from there, you get 16 points from D'Angelo Russell, but it was very top-heavy, first half heavy. You get 14 points from Austin Reeves, but I thought that was much more of a second-half thing. And, yes, it hurts to be missing Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, Cam Reddish, who I guess his groin was bothering him after playing yesterday. Just came back from that groin soreness. Hopefully it's not re-aggravated to the point where he misses Saturday's game. We'll see. But you don't have him, and you don't have Jackson Hayes, who hurt his elbow against Detroit, and the hope was that he just didn't play the second half because it was precautionary, but he didn't play tonight. That's a lot to put on the plate of the Lakers going up against a really good Thunder team. They had absolutely no answers for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 33 points, 11 of 18 from the field, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, no turnovers. He was just spectacular. And you combine that with 21 points from Jalen Williams. Nice second half from Chet Holmgren. He was really quiet, foul-ridden. AD just attacked him in the first half. But he managed to finish with 18 points and 5 rebounds. You get Isaiah Joe and Cason Wallace, 10 points apiece off the bench. Just too much for the Lakers to handle. Reminder not to miss a minute of the action. All Laker games this season are streaming on the ESPN LA app. Download the ESPN LA app in the App Store or Google Play. Austin Reeves, he said a lot after this game, but in particular he was asked about assessing this team at the 20-game mark, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if you can really, do that yet, just because, like you said, we've had so many injuries, had guys out, guys not play. It's kind of been, a next man up mentality, which I think we've done really good at. But at the same time, when you miss guys that are, key pieces to what you're trying to do, it's tough. So, I think we're in a good spot. Obviously, we have some things we need to work on, and things that we do well, as every team does. So, we like where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is actually a pretty honest assessment. Like, there are some things that you can like with this team. There's obviously also a lot that they need to work on. It is also, I think, not excuse-making to say that they don't really know completely what they have because they've been missing so many guys throughout the course of this season. They've had LeBron and AD pretty much every game, which obviously is what matters the most. And D'Angelo Russell has not missed a game. I think Reeves has maybe missed one. But, they've had many of their key players the entire season. But, again, this team was supposed to be built on depth. So when you are missing guys like Rui and Vando and Gabe Vincent and, Cam Reddish was coming on in a very surprise campaign so far. Like, I will admit, I did not expect Cam Reddish to really have a role on this team, much less actually be impactful. And he has been, and it's a great surprise. But then when he's out, this stuff just starts to pile up on top of each other. And again, it's not making excuses for the team because there are things that clearly they're going to need to get better at full strength. Like heading into this season, I had concerns that they would not be a good rebounding team. So far, that has been the case. The Lakers have not been a good three-point shooting team since, I don't know, the three-point line was invented. Like they don't do it well for whatever reason, and that's continuing this year. So, you can look at this thing glass half full, especially taking into account there's still 2 games above 500. This is clearly not last year where they started 2-10 and it was just a disaster. But there are things that need to be worked on, and you just keep wondering when they're going to be in the best position to actually try to come together as a team. You need a break from the everyday, especially after tonight's loss. Well, fans, it might be your lucky day because tonight, Fantasy Springs Resort Casino giving away 2-night stay plus dinner, golf, or bowling for 2. Make any day your lucky day. Book now at fantasysprings.com. LakersPostgame.com. Take another call, 877-710-ESPN. James in LA, you're on the Lakers Postgame Show. What's up, man?
Yes, I wanted to comment on the guys that we have. We've seen the best of the team as it is now. I mean, last year we had Lonnie Walker, we had Dennis Schroeder, we had people who we knew that was good, and we didn't re-sign them. And so we go out and we sign this guy Vincent. Okay, Vincent, he hadn't played not 1 minute. It's almost like going back the year before when we picked up Kendrick Nunn. He sat on the bench the whole year, didn't do anything, come back, and then he played one half of a season, and then we got rid of him. I mean, I don't know what the Lakers are doing right now. They're going to have to make a trade at the trade deadline.
Well, I appreciate the call, James. I mean, Vincent, he was coming off a really good playoff.
Get ready. I think he's going to go to you guys soon.
I get being nervous about what's going on with his injury because, frankly, the word we've gotten from the Lakers has been kind of murky, and there hasn't been a lot of details. And I understand, he at least has played this season, so it's not quite Kendrick Nunn level, but I understand why fans are worried about it. Like Rui, I believe, is getting fitted for a mask, and, there's a good chance that he's going to end up, if not back Saturday against Houston, you would hope that he could be back at least for the quarterfinal game in LA against Phoenix. And it has felt like Jared Vanderbilt is progressing towards a return relatively soon. Hopefully Cam Reddish, the whatever aggravation he was feeling with that groin isn't like a true setback and he can be available on Saturday. It's interesting, though, that James brings up Dennis Schroeder because whether on Twitter at Cam Brothers or on the YouTube comment.
You see what LeBron said about Bronny right now? Okay, bring that up.
Anywhere you get your podcasts, never behind a paywall. Great Lakers coverage. I've heard a lot of fans saying that they miss Dennis Schroeder, whether you're talking about skill set, that ability to drive, which, if nothing else, would be very, very useful while the Lakers are looking to run this, 5-out system and trying to create these driving lanes. Schroeder's skill set would be good there. I've heard a lot of fans talk about missing Schroeder's edge and just that intensity that he played with. And I will admit, I think the team is missing that type of vibe right now. I do not know, and I say this, I sincerely don't know. The money that Schroeder got from the Raptors was more than the Lakers actually could pay Schroeder because of CBA, cap restrictions without completely gutting their entire cap in ways that due respect to Dennis Schroeder. You're not going to do that for him. Like, it's the type of thing that people were wondering whether the Lakers would have done for Kyrie. But you're not going to do that for Dennis Schroeder. I don't know if the Lakers offered Schroeder the money that they offered Vincent and Schroeder wanted the max possible that he could get, which I don't blame him because we all know, the story of fumbling the bag a few years ago, and I don't blame Schroeder if he's looking to make himself whole as much as possible. He also may have felt like he would have a bigger role in Toronto, and he's starting for the Raptors, last I checked. So, it may have been somewhat out of the Lakers' hands if they did not make more than, I think, like a cursory effort to bring back Schroeder. I would say that was a mistake. But to be fair to the Lakers, I sincerely do not know how much of this was truly out of their hands. If Schroeder wanted the most money possible, there really was nothing the Lakers could have realistically done about it. I'm not trying to be a shill for the team. I'm just saying, if you know the way the cap works, they really could not do anything with that. But look, he is missed. Lonnie Walker, his ability to penetrate right now, that is missed. Even as much as Russ was a bad fit and that trade was a mistake and he clearly needed to be elsewhere, there are times where Russ's penetrating ability or just the edge that Russ played with, I think is sometimes missing with this team. If you look at some of the areas where they are lacking in terms of physicality, in terms of rebounding on both sides of the ball. Getting Vando back will help. I think getting Vincent back will help with physicality, some intensity. I think getting Rui back helps with physicality and energy. I think getting Reddish back helps with physicality and energy. Jackson Hayes is certainly a physical player, but there is a certain edge that this team has seemed to be missing. And, they at the risk of getting all cliche and eye of the tiger, like they do need to kind of find that. They need to find that type of edge. Really quick before we go, anything happening with the kids and the social media and whatnot?
Always something going on, AK.
All right.
Yeah, AK. So earlier, we got word from Mike Trudell. Darvin Ham said he thinks Rui Hachimura has gotten fitted for a mask following nasal surgery. So which NBA player comes to mind when you think of a player that with a mask? I mean,
the obvious guy is Rip Hamilton because he wore that mask for years after I think he broke his nose. But Richard Hamilton wore a mask for basically the entirety of his career. I remember Kobe at one point broke his nose, and he originally was wearing this like jet black solid mask that looked like it was made out of metal. It was like Batman's mask.
Looked like he was Phantom of the Opera.
Yes, and it was super menacing looking, and the league, if I remember correctly, told him you got to switch masks, dude. Like I don't think because he was too scary. I think it might have been the material, or they didn't like that it wasn't like in any way see-through. I don't know what it was, but they told Kobe got to wear a different mask. But yeah, Rip Hamilton's always the guy you think of, at least for me, with masked players.
All right, AK, I got a little throwback Thursday for you right here.
Do it.
On this day in 1982, Lakers were visiting the San Antonio Spurs. LA was down 2 with 35 seconds left. You got Norm Nixon at the line for one free throw shot. He hits a pump fake on the free throw. Everyone jumps in the lane. They call double lane violation, so it turns to a jump ball. Lakers get that jump ball. Nixon hits the shot, sends it to overtime. The Lakers go on to win in double OT. 5 months later, the Spurs challenged that. NBA agrees, so the next time the Spurs and the Lakers played, they started by playing the final 3 seconds of that game over again, and the Spurs ended up winning that game. AK, since you're our Lakers Twitter historian, can you try and tell us what the reaction would be if something like that happened today? What would the social media Laker fans be looking like?
It might be enough to make me deactivate my account. Like that. I mean, that's just like, was it like Elmo with the fire behind him? Like that's basically what we're looking at. We use the phrase "would have broken the internet" too often, but that might have broken it. Also, just want to give a shout out. A couple of years ago, when I was writing for The Athletic, Brian and I co-wrote a piece. Like, the Lakers have this standard for retiring jerseys. You have to be in the Hall of Fame, just because the Lakers have had so many great players. If they didn't have that type of standard, they'd run out of numbers. But some teams have like a ring of honor that the Lakers don't have because they just have so many retired jerseys they don't need it. But we were thinking about guys who would be in the ring of honor if the Lakers did that. It would be like Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, Fish, Lamar Odom,
Michael Thompson.
Michael Thompson could be in there. I think Ori would be in there. I would.
Rick
put
Fox.
Rick Fox would be in there. But anyway, I was like, okay, I think Norm Nixon would be. But let me look up his numbers. Oh my God! Like I knew Norm Nixon was a good player. I had either just forgotten or never knew just how good he was with the Lakers. His numbers were phenomenal, and his playoff numbers were even better. Like Norm Nixon deserved better to be traded to the Clippers during that era. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Speaking of former Lakers that deserve better, Alex Caruso, big-time shot tonight. He hit a buzzer-beater three-pointer to send the Bucks Bulls to overtime. Bulls went on to win that game 120-113. AK, if you got Rob Pelinka's ear, since we're talking about, is this roster good enough to compete, what would you send the Bulls' way to try and bring Alex Caruso back to the Lake Show?
Well, I mean, look, I don't think I have Rob Pelinka's ear because heading into that offseason when Caruso left, I kept going on and on about you got to keep. I didn't even think there was a question that they would be keeping Caruso, particularly at the eventual price. And, it felt like it was a self-imposed choice economically between Caruso and Talen Horton-Tucker, which A, wasn't necessary. I think B, if you're going to make that choice, they chose wrong, like really wrong. As far as trading for Caruso straight up, he makes, I think, about $9 million a year. So it would probably be like Taurean Prince, Jalen Hood-Schifino, a first, maybe a second. Alex Caruso is going to fetch at least a first around the league, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's 2, because he's perfect for teams that are contending, and he's very price controlled. Like, that is a reasonable contract. There's always concerns about injury with Caruso, but he's having a terrific season. Again, I tried to keep him here. It's not my fault. Don't blame me.
We have McMiniman interviewed LeBron after. He said, LeBron on Bronny James's impending return to college basketball. LeBron said, "It's exciting. I'm looking forward to his first game. I already told my Lakers teammates that if they're playing on the same day we're playing, then I'm going to catch them the next game. Family over everything." So we can expect, LeBron might miss a game for LeBron's soon to return to USC basketball. So.
I mean, we'll see how I have no idea what USC's schedule is. Hopefully that doesn't happen, just because you want to see LeBron on the court. And frankly, I think LeBron might have a bit of a difficult time really focusing on Bronny's game if he's thinking about what the Lakers are doing. But either way, it's just happy to hear that Bronny is moving forward like this. That was a terrifying situation for LeBron and his family. So I'm just happy to see that. I mean, forget returning to basketball. It just seems like he's going to have a healthy life moving forward. So it's what matters most. Our next broadcast will be Saturday. Lakers come facing the Houston Rockets and the self-proclaimed LeBron stopper, Dylan Brooks, Dylan the Villain, the Bear Poker. Local coverage begins at 6 p.m., tip-off 7:30. And this has been the Lakers postgame show. Appreciate everybody listening. 710 ESPN.
You've been listening